好，各位来宾请就坐。好，我们接下来要开始今天的演讲。那首先我们来欢迎来自美国 Duke 大学陈怡然教授。那陈怡然教授在 Neuromorphic 跟 AI 这个领域已经研究非常多年。那陈怡然教授他是北京清华大学毕业，然后在美国 Prof 在 Cultural 实验室，然后毕业之后再去业界工作，在那个磁性的，CK 对，那个跟陈老师也认识很多年的，因为他也是 memory 的专家，尤其在磁性记忆体的专家。那更令我佩服的是，很多年前他就毅然决然的跳脱记忆体的领域，而站上还在做，这个就是跨到 AI Neuromorphic 的这个研究领域那他在匹兹堡大学担任了教职很多年之后去年嘛，对，那个又被高薪这个礼聘这个到著名的杜克大学Duke， 然后在这边lead 的这个Center for Evolutionary Intelligence， 他专门在研究 AI 跟 Neuromorphic。陈怡然教授得过非常多的奖，包含美国的 LSTM Award， 还有很多outstanding 的 paper 在 DEC 还有 NICS 这边都有。我们今天很荣幸的可以邀请到陈怡然教授来清华大学来我们这个 Untitled Bridge 跟那个科技部的 AI 的 program 来给大家那个 summer class 针对于Neuromorphic Computing 跟 Deep Learning 的 Acceleration。让我们用最热烈的掌声欢迎陈怡然教授。
先讲一段中文那告我待会儿用英文讲。非常感谢这个一开始李老师那个孟凡来邀请我，像今天跟陈耀远一块吃饭的时候，陈耀远也说他会亲自来听，非常感谢大家来捧场。那个我待会儿会用英文去来讲这个 slide， 因为刚才有工作人员告诉我说会有那个外籍生，所以要照顾到他们。但是如果你有什么问题的话，如果英文不方便，可以用中文来提问，没有问题，我可以去回答，或者什么地方如果英文没有讲得太清楚的话OK. Okay, thank you very much. My name is Yiran Chen from Duke University. This is the chapel of the Duke. So if you go to Duke campus, you are able to see this chapel. And it's a very popular writing location. So if you're an alumni of Duke, you're able to sign up and wait for a couple of years so you can get your writing organized here. Okay, the title of my talk today is Neuromorphic Computing and Deep Learning Acceleration. So we basically break the whole content into two parts. So today we'll talk about the algorithm, software, and the system. And we'll have another more hardware-oriented content on the coming Friday, given by Professor Helen Lee, also my wife. Talk about another part. So the corresponding material has been included in this proceeding, so you're able to find out them. This is a brief introduction about our research. So we established a center under the Pratt School of Engineering at Duke for the Duke Center for Evolutionary Intelligence. So the basic idea is trying to launch this center to particularly focus on the hardware-related, AI research. And you will see later on, even we talk about we only work on the hardware, that does not mean we only have research on hardware, because now the AI research is more like hardware software co-run. Okay, So we talk about the memory technology and also deep learning and neuromorphic computing and also some mobile things. And today we'll talk about how we can use some components about how we can apply the AI technology on the mobile things. For some people who are interested in playing the game on the mobile phone, you may be able to be interested in this part. So there's some brief instructions about my working experience. I was also Professor Lee. So we're going to look on the different companies, Qualcomm, Intel, Seagate, Synopsys, as well as some students on Word, and also funded by our large variety of funding agents, also companies. This is today's outline. So we'll do some brief introduction about the evolution of deep learning. Actually, I should say neural network research. And then we'll talk about the software platform and distributed framework. And part of this content has been included in a tutorial which we gave in last April in website DAT. Also in Xinju. And then it's about the mobile computing platform. So it's pretty high level. So you can give some idea about how we can implement those deep learning systems on the multiple smartphones. As an initial, there's about a more algorithm focused topic, like a model simplification and reduction. And there's some example regarding how we can optimize the learning on the IBM Tunnel chip. So that would be some example, the vertical track, so you're able to dramatically improve the accuracy of the AI systems. And talk about the security is in more working topics, but quickly attracted a lot of attention in AI research recently. And talk about the microarchitecture for deep learning, but very initial one. If we don't have time, we'll move this part, to the coming Friday talk. Okay, if we have time, we'll talk about this one. So they'll give you some basis, for the coming Friday talks in both, particularly and also particularly, on the coming Friday. A good combination. So they talk about those stuff. So introduction. Sorry, I think just here. So, okay. So we can pretty much divide the evolution of the neural network into three areas. Actually, there are many ups and downs. Okay. So before the 1990s, the neural network was very popular. Even in 1980s, people already come up with the prototype of the convolutional network. Yes, I saw Professor Wolf also gave some introduction about the CNN. So you will know this idea actually was proposed a long ago. And then the whole thing entered the dark period. Because people realize, the neural network or any algorithms proposed in that period, was not be able to solve any practical issues. In general, we were suffering from three challenges. There are more, but there are three main challenges. The number one was the vanishing granite. The basic idea is when you're trying to train the neural network, I assume I have some basic idea about the neural network. So the gradients we calculated will not be able to propagate across the different layers. And the difference which we use to train the neural network will disappear after several layers. That's one challenge we had at that time. Okay. How to solve that problem? People come with the fact of propagation or so on first, but we are still, experiencing the similar things, until now. And another solution, we actually, designed a different activation function to generate more nonlinear function on that part. And also, there is no benefit observed by adding more layers. So there are many reasons for this. One reason we were not exploring very efficient neural network topology. Another thing is with actually not adding sufficient number of the hidden layers, to do those stuff. And the third one is no high performance computing devices, because if you still remember, in the last 30 years, we actually have a tremendous increment of the computing performance increment on the silicon. But at that time, even to come up with very complex neural networks, they will not be able to finish the training and also the operation, in very short time. So in 2006, okay, the Hinton published a paper about how they can apply the GPU to train the neural network and also apply the technology for some interesting problems. For example, the image night. They're able to recognize the image. And that actually gives another rebirth of this whole neural network stuff. And this pit actually continue until now. Okay, the adoption of the GPU technology, or in general the hardware, is a trigger of this aggressiveness. So we'll talk about more about this. And also people come up with a lot of the technique trying to train the neural network. One example we show here is an example in neural network. We partition neural network into smaller ones, and then we combine them. Okay, so those are the three periods. This shows the timeline of the evolution of all the neural network. We start from the 1940s, talk about electronics brain, because at that time believe, as we believe now, 75 years later, we can learn from the human brain, to really build some computer which is very intelligent. I can tell it's not true because we still learn very late about human brain, but we really see huge technical advances on this technology. Okay, so people say we have to generate some neurons, the axons, or some first. So we're able to consume some input, and if the excitation of the input will accumulate and reach some threshold, we're able to integrate and also fire another signal. So that actually becomes the model of the perceptron. And then you come up with the activation function, the limiting function, so they can clumping the amplitude of the signal and also propagate those signal to the later layers. So that's why people come up with IMLP. So they have an input layer, output layer, and they have some intermediate layer in between, so they can store more information and also implement more complex functions. And in 1970, Professor Fukushima proposed this one neural network topology for the neo-concrete. So this technology is a prototype of the CNN. So they already have a convolution, pooling, so on first. But why we talk about CNN, we will always go back to the young Lacan, but not Fukushima, because at that time there's one important technology was not invented. So training this neural network become very hard. So there's a field to really demonstrate the functionality of this technology, which is the back propagation. So now you can see sometimes you have to wait some other technology was invented before you invent some technology. Okay, so back propagation partially saw the vanishing gradient issue, and then about 1989, Lacan proposed the CNN. Okay, and now we all know CNN is the most successful neural network we've ever had so far. And in 2006, Hinton actually come up with the idea to use GPU, and they partition the topology of the neural network so that we can train a very large neural network and also apply it on the image night transfers. Talk about some a story about this. So now, we all know the image at night is very powerful. If you talk to the faculty or someone, she can tell you that, I had this idea, back in Princeton, that kindly, motivated me after this stuff. Okay, so that's not the whole story, okay? The original motivation of the image at night was not from the people who are learning, from the prompt source. The basic idea is you have all the image and put those stuff on the internet, and hopefully all the internet user will help you to recognize those stuff and tag those stuff. Okay, because crowdsource. But soon they found out the image at night will actually create a very large data set we'll be able to use on people who are learning. So they dumped the original motivation on the story. Now they tell a new story saying I'm launching the image at night for the people who are learning. And so just give you some payback. That's basically it. It's still a great invention, but now you can see the original motivation may not really be the final success. So that's that. Okay. Sorry. By the way, I think there is one organization in Taiwan, Chinese Electronic Engineering Association, 中国电子工程学会. Okay. They invite me to write a survey paper about all this. So actually, I give them the Chinese word, not a journal. Ask for the English word. So that will be published in the Q3 issue of the net. So if you're interested in this article, thank you will be able to read that paper. I'll talk more about the biological model evolution, with the cat, for so many electrons first. Okay, so you're interested in read those stuff. Okay. Another thing about the LearnNet. So we all know the LearnNet is very popular, published by Yiran Chen about 1998. It's one of the very first CNN. Idea came from one paper published in 1989. So this is the first one that people use. So it's very small if you compare the size of this one to the current one, but already have some key components of the current CNN. So one is the convolution. Well, not convolution, right? We have some filter, generate stuff. And the pooling with non-linearity for the activating function, some first, and the fully connected layer by the end serve as a classifier. So the convolution layer is used to extract the spatial features. So CNN was invented based on the image recognition. Okay, that's the image recognition. The important part is to try to extract the spatial features. This concept, if you learn the computer vision, that's actually a very basic concept with people use computer vision. Okay, that's why you'll see the intrinsic link between the DNA and also the CV. And the pooling use the spatial average of the map. But now we know we'll not only use the average pooling, we use the maximum pooling. So we're based on different philosophy. We either choose the average behavior or choose the maximum one. Both have their pros and cons. And the non-linearity, that's why people use tangent or the sigmoid to so the vanishing Guanyi issues. We can have the high order, differentiated to general stuff, and a fully connected layer. So, and 2012, Alex, come up with AlexNet. It's a much deeper and a much wider version of the LearnNet. This will apply to image night and achieve very high recognition rate. So if you read that paper, you'll know it's higher than people can recognize. They use a ReLU as a non-linear component, and now it's become very popular. And the drop-out technique to selectively ignore a single electron during the training to generate some randomness. So people can generate the randomness and the variance. Then they can do the averaging on those outputs so that they can improve the training and avoid overfitting. And the overlapping maximum pooling is not the average pooling, to avoid the averaging effect of the average pooling, and use the GPU much powerful one to reduce the training time. So if you see the evolution of the neural network, the CNN improvement from accuracy starts from very small small neural network like AlexNet or VDD to very large one. But another side, people also come up with a very small neural network, trying to minimize the computation cost, which are associated with the neural network. Because SwissNet is binary CNN, some ICDP or SANN, but those are spectrum based because that's actually a very large topic. We're not talking about those things. Maybe briefly, in Professor Lee's slide, you can have this one. SwissNet, I think Sanju will talk about this, so I'm not going to cover the as far. So an RN is another reconcurrent neural network. It basically have some temporal information in the neural network. So you can use this kind of neural network to process the data which have a temporal information like audio or video transfers. I think Yuan will talk about this part, so I'm not going to cover that part too. The DNA learning model, there's, for example, hidden Markov model plus the DNA for speech recognition. They can have multiple frames or the traits, so they can recognize those stuff. I think Yuan will talk some component about this, how they can implement the RN and LSTM on all audio processing. So I'm not talking about the RE. So we are more focused on this accuracy and some hardware efficiency. Okay. How we can train the neural network? So in general, we use something called the cost of function or the error function as a target when we're trying to train the neural network. Okay. So it's a matter of how good the neural network did, with respect to the given training sample and the expected, output. For example, we can train our model by minimizing the loss of function, which can be the differentiation between the output and the target value. And there are many ways you can train this. You can do the original or the before one to the back of propagation, so that they represent the different ways. Either you want to train proactively on the neural network, or you generate some feedback, be mechanism by monitoring the output and also train those flags. It's very good to understand the whole philosophy. People come with a lot of detailed techniques, trying to improve the training method. For example, the stochastic gradient descent, we can generate some randomness on the gradients to avoid the actually stuck at some local minima. Or people have added some momentum, you can always jump, a little bit far a step when you are trying to train your neural network, or so on first. There are more advanced one. Some of them actually all the details. There are so many techniques. But the basic idea is very simple. The basic idea is you're trying to converge the output of your system to the target. But you don't want your neural network to stop at some local minima, because if you're stuck at some local minima, you are not be able to jump out of this minima to really continue converge to this lower accuracy. Okay? And in many cases, we don't really know what is the minimal accuracy we can assign, the minimal error rate to which we can achieve. So that's why people kind of solve those problems. On another side, people also trying to improve the convergence, process by speeding up the whole process, and also accelerate the convergence rate. And people come out with shuffling or the batch normalization, or really stopping or getting noise on the sound first. All those things are trying to, either avoid the local minima or improve the convergence rate. Okay. Give some very simple example which we're going to use later on, because we only have 5 hours. Actually, we cannot cover the whole one semester course. So just give you some high-level idea about if you want to train the neural network, how you can create a loss function. In general, one loss function will include the following component. Number one is accuracy. You're trying to minimize the error between the target one and the one you already achieved. Okay, so that we call the EDW. As EDW means the data-dependent errors. And on top of that, there are more items you can add. For example, you can add the sparsity component, which means that to represent how many weights you really need on one neural network. So you have a lot of neurons, okay, and there certainly will be a lot of connectivity between different neurons, but we don't need all of them. We all understand this because in the human brain, for example, we have one new neuron in our human brain may connect to thousands of our other neurons. It sounds like a lot number, but we have I think about 30 billion neurons or synapses, in our in the human brain. So the 3,000, 4,000, connections is actually a very small number. So which means in the human brain, our neural network is very sparse. So one popular optimization is how we can minimize the number of connectivities in the neural network. There are any other. There are also many other optimizations. One thing is quantization of the neural network. That means in our neurons or the synapse are not a floating point value. There can be a limited number of the levels we can represent on the neurons and the synapse. And how we can quantize the information and store this information in every single component of the neural network is another part of optimization. And later on we will show there are many more optimization techniques we can add by just manipulating the loss function here. Okay. So for the training of the neural network, the three, people have the DUT and the category. So let's categorize those things into three points of vertex of these triangles. So number one for the supervised learner. The supervised learning basically means if you have some labeled data, you know what's the data, you know the data, and you know what is the label. We don't have image, we say the image is a dog, okay, label stop. And you can give a direct feedback on the neural network, saying if you give the data as a dog and the output is output like a cat, you say, hey, it's wrong, it should be dog. So you create this feedback to train this neural network. And you can predict the outcome and then the future, and it can be applied on the classification. This is actually the most powerful application of the neural network we ever have. You have already seen a lot of applications like this. And of course, there's some example like the image classification. I'm not going to go into detail. You can see like the cherry or something. So you make it recognize different objects or something first. And you can speech recognition. You create those historical linking of the neural network, so you're able to recognize those stuff. And on the speech recognition or the AI customer service, they all rely on this okay. Actually, there are a lot of computations or contexts you can join. We are organizing one in October. In ES week, you can compete for the recognition rate of this image, and also another one for the low power image recognition context, which we organize every year at the CBPR. So you can form the team and also join us. We give a travel grant for each team. It's actually not bad. It's $750 for a student. Okay. So another one is for the unsupervised learning. It's a little bit hard because there's no label. The people throw a lot of data to you, and hopefully you can recognize those data. This is somehow like a human brain, right? You give a dog and a cat. You just a lot of dog and cat. You roughly even don't know what's the name of this animals, but you roughly know this cat is a dog. Okay. But the issue is we have no feedback. It's totally relying on the neural network to really find the hidden representation and reconstruct the whole idea of labels. And there's something in between called the semi-supervised and the wicked supervised. What I can tell is we have a very, very limited progress on this unsupervised learning. And if you know the GAN, I'm not sure I told this part, but generative out-of-order network, where people are excited because this maybe the technique can really improve this. The one example is we have generative model, which means you give some very blurry input, and you're able to feel this missing part of a blurred part, by training your neural network. It's like they give you some picture and ask you to fill the black, space. Human can do it, and neural network can also do it if you give them sufficient training to do those stuff. And also, if you have some, area is a block on this image, we're able to reconstruct those stuff, and we will show here. So this is also a very popular research topic people are doing now. The third one is pretty much very well known for the normal people, but not for engineers. Is reinforcement learning. It's basically the decision process. So we're trying to learn the strategy by using the neural network, and to play the better game using rewarding series. We learn a lot of series of actions, and we do like decision making. For example, in some course which we ask a student to use this technique to optimize the video game playing, they can play the better game. The basic idea of the AlexNet is one example. Right? So the basic idea is we have a top policy network and a value network. For each top policy or a step, you can generate some values of reward. You know what will be the impact on the success of the game. And of course, the more steps in between the current step and the end of the game, then the more impact will be. And based on this, you actually can train your network and eventually generate the sequence of the stuff. Another thing is the dark forest. It's basically the tree base. You have some actions or the options, and they actually construct like a tree, and you actually train the branches, which is not going to generate the benefit result. Okay, they say, oh, I'm going to remove those stuff. And there's one design that people have an image, and based on the image, is actually train their convolutional neural network, so they can generate some rewarding mechanism and find out what you're expecting the 2D positions, and use this information to regenerate the action of the mob or some firm can be used for a robot. Okay, people have been studying those kind of knowledge for many years, but Britain gave a lot of attention because of the AlexNet, because they did the world champion of the Go game. But the technologies they use is not very new. However, they create a new training method that can generate, their own training data rather than, the external data you can fit into the system. Thanks for the generative model. So you basically can fight between, with yourself and to learn from this. There are, of course, there are more advanced model, like you have players, you have the counterparty, you have a judge, so you can really learn, from those three parties. But they're a little bit advanced, so we're not covering this talks. Okay, so we give some brief introduction about what different types of the neural network, the evolution we saw first. We do have some basic idea about what they are. Now, the next thing we talk about is if you want to learn those stuff, where you can start with. We call it a software platform and the distributed framework. So, give some ideas. Some components, we borrow from existing application, and some are our own understanding. So, if you look at the single PC framework and the distributed framework, we can divide into two parts. One is the equal distributed framework and a single PC framework. We all start with the neural network. Okay, so this network, single PC can come into the single computing system. There are a lot of accelerators which you can buy. You can either the GPU, or some people give you ASIC board, IPG, or recently Intel has their own USB drive you can plug into your computer. It's $79, you got one. Some of my students got some required, but that one only for the inference. But for the distributed one, you have to use cluster computing framework rather than Hadoop or the Spark. Because some people in this room do a lot of data center research, what they are. So you can manage the data and also the workload across the different nodes, and then you can monitor the computing system to optimize those things. There also are the software environment which you can make it to use to train your network, the pruning network and the treatment. Cafe, everybody knows this. The torch, Tensorflow, and many others. They're all either the open source or supplied by some companies. There's a comparison between the different machine learning framework. So the four major ones, Cafe, Torch, Seno, and also Tensor, they all support Python. Okay, that's why almost every student in my group are using Python. However, they also support many other, MATLAB, C or C++. There are also some language, Lua, which you are able to use, and they all support the multi-GPU, even some of them may not support very well. And also they also support either the data parallel or the model parallel. We'll talk about what they are later on. And you can they develop at different things. Berkeley for Cafe, but now it's become a Facebook. So they actually launched the Cafe too. The young India led this effort. Also, some open source ones, the Montreal and the Google, so they have a difference. And in many of them also support different versions. For example, the Tensorflow originally supported the mobile station, and the Cafe 2 now become more powerful. They also support the mobile station too. How about the Cafe? I'm not sure it's a really update, but in the Cafe 1, the pros of the Cafe is good for the feed-forward network, good for the fine-tuning the existing network, and train the model without writing much code, which is one example later on, and the Python interface. The content you need to write, you know, C++ and CUDA for the new GPU layers, and for the large neural networks, in this the code can be really cumbersome. There is one example to show that needs a digit classification example. So you create multiple layers, and now you can see you can create more layers, and so layers you need to write one by one. So if your network is very complex, take a while to write those stuff. That's because there's a line defined layer has 11 lines. You can define one layer as well as the pooling is you know, the kernel size, you know, strip size, you know, so on first. And there's the training and the IAS. For the training and testing, that's very compact because we really have all the intrinsic, you know, embedded parameters here, like a momentum or a base, you know, learning rate or, you know, so on first. Torch. Actually, not many of my students use Torch, but in general, they summarize. I asked them to summarize. Pros and a lot of modular bits that can either to combine, either to write their own layers type and run on the GPU. And Lua is very powerful. It's basically a library. It can a lot of functions can leverage. And a lot of pre-training the model. But the concept is that you have to write your own training code. For the RNN, you know, this does not support very well. No commercial support. It's basically the Torch is all open source, and the documentation was not so supported. But this is an overview of all the data side in the tool. You can see there's a pretty large variety for those stuff. They have Lua to use, and load sample from Lua, you know, transfer samples, or, you know, the key value store, you know, some sort. It has a lot of space with which you can play by using the Torch. TensorFlow is pretty much the most popular source framework people use. They're basically including two parts, Python and also the NumPy. And they have the computation of graph, you know, abstraction, like you know, a Siano. It's great for RNN because RNN is, as I just mentioned before, they have a temporal relationship. Those temporal relationships have to create a very complex topology. There's some loops there. So any support for the graph and abstraction will be very useful. The much faster compile time than the Siano, and slightly convenient than Siano. And they have a virtualized tensor board, so which you are able to see all the information there. We'll have one example later on. And the data and the model part of them, you know, so on and so on first. So the response is a slower. Especially the number is small because slow because the initial age and time is very large. It's quite large and not many pre-training models. People create a lot of examples there actually we can use. And those are the example of the operations in the TensorFlow. You can see there are a very large number of the different mathematical operations, array operation, measure operation, or some first. Is compared with any other framework. So if you are designing irregular neural network, so that would be the one, you know, which you like to do. I know the large number of the building a block, really, or all the things, so which you can choose. And because they have a queue and a synchronization operation, they have a distributed computing. That may be also a good choice for those. This one example will say what you're going to see if you use the TensorFlow on the tensor board. Okay, so you find all the topology, you click them, they have all the parameters there, and they can show the type, and then you can change the value, you know, so on first. So for the student, they like this. Okay, so you don't worry about the text. They only want to see what they're going to see. So that's the I'm sure people actually compare all the frameworks with different types of events and summarize the performance. So one famous paper is the comparative study of the deep learning software framework, published in the KDD 2016, gave a very comprehensive comparison across all those layers. So those are some examples. So they test the gradient computation time and the forward step time of the 5 framework on the GPU with different batch size. Because we know the batch size actually going to affect the performance a lot. So if you increase the batch size, you will see the TensorFlow training time of 4 times does not really change much. Okay, but for any other framework, and they almost linearly increase with the batch size. That should be the case if we really consider we should have a much smaller initialization time, and we should be. So this is for the lunar night, the C and the QDN is used here. So the summarize basically say the cafe for the training and for the testing, they're both are good. But you can graduate with the batch size as many other frameworks. And Neo, even faster. TensorFlow, both are bad. And the Ciano, good. And the Torch, not very good. And so here, when the batch size increases, it actually quickly cache the size of the TensorFlow. So that gives some idea about how you can choose the different tools if you want to train your neural network. That's the most time-consuming part. Yes.
So for the page size, it's something to do with memory shaping. Yes, I think there are also. I think
there could be
because.
Sorry, I think that could be because here they didn't consider the cache access behavior. They may assume there is sufficient bandwidth between them. We have I think I have 2 pictures later on to show if you have a different memory interface bandwidth or if you have a different memory access behavior, how those behavior will affect the performance. We can maybe discuss those stuff in those later. One was the structural sparsity, another one for the binary binary gradient communication. Yeah. Let's look at typing computation for the AlexNet, a much larger network. So again, you'll see the similar trend. But because the network is very large, you will find out, the initial agent time of the TensorFlow is amortized over the very large, the typing time. You'll see very linear. Okay, so now you see the kind of raise rate of the TensorFlow. The initial agent time is pretty large. It's almost independent on the size of the neural network. But over the testing time and training time is proportional to the size, to the batch size, also the size of the neural network. Okay, and if we compare the performance on the GPU and the CPU, there is something interesting you can see. For example, the Torch is actually very smaller performance, and the Ciano has even smaller one compared with any other framework. But the TensorFlow performance is pretty bad here on the GPU. And for the CPU, the Torch only gave very good result, and TensorFlow is also bad. And if we change the number of threads from 1 to 6 to 12 on the CPU, the corresponding like a cup. I'm not sure. I should copy here. Okay, fine. So we will find out the TensorFlow number does not change much. There's still going to be 32, 18, and 18 stand out too much, but some of them dramatically change. Like a piano, it changed from the 14 to 5.8, or so on the first. So this was the highesting result. You can see a similar trend like here. The reason you are not able to see large performance improvement on the multi-thread CPU because you need to partition the model and the data. There will generate a lot of communication costs between different threads. And we will show later on this cost is sometimes can be very, very high, so that you have to use some compression technique to reduce the cost. This average processing time for LSTM. This is a little bit different. The LSTM is not CNN. It actually has some temporal information. You will find out if you have a CPU and a GPU, the torch does not change much, but CNN dramatically improves the performance if you're using a GPU. In other words, the CNN has a better support on the GPU. Torch is doing well on the GPU part. So this is very interesting picture show. They basically find out how many users, active users are there on the Google groups, this discussion group and the GitHub, so which is the developing groups online. The higher number of the Google group means how many users are actively using this stuff. And how many users on the GitHub, basically how many developers are developing the corresponding projects of each framework. So the funny part is you can see Cafe at that time, 2016, had the largest number of the users. And the Seattle has the second largest one, and the Tensorflow has a smaller number. But if you look at how many people are developing the project related to those frameworks, the Cafe is here, and the Seattle is here. It's much larger than any others because it's open source, and the Tensorflow is also large. So that's basically some idea of saying, because it's open source, the more developers are able to participate in the development of this framework. But for the user-wise, many users trust the software developed by the companies like Tensorflow and the Cafe. That gives some ideas. So this number will change every year. You can see the trend. But the more people are developing the project, so maybe the more people will jump into this software first. So in my group, most of my students either use Tensorflow or use Cafe. Just give us some idea. But I'm not saying I suggest you to use that. So in my group, okay, so that is the case. So if you want to compute the part, the Sienna and the Torch are most tangible one because they can support a very deep architecture and support the library for the open source. And for the GPU, the Torch may be the best one. But Tensorflow is a very flexible framework. So if you students have no idea about the deep learning frameworks, first you may suggest them to learn from Tensorflow, especially if you want a heterogeneous device for the various part of the computational graph. However, performance on single GPU is not that competitive, let's say, because the Tensorflow actually was designed by Google for their large GPU farm or something. Yes, please.
Two questions. First, is your conclusion about GPUs apply to multi-GPU processes also?
Oh, you mean this one?
Yeah.
No, I think this one only for the single one, not for the multi.
Is there anything you can say about multi-GPU versus single GPU? I'm thinking about building a really big box.
In a real big box, I believe, there's a Tensorflow on maybe a better one because they consider the scalability of those stuff. Those open source, they don't have the access for the multi-GPU. I don't have confidence on this part. Yeah.
And same question, do you see any difference in usability between NVIDIA and AMD GPUs?
That's very good quality answer. We have very limited experience on the AMD one because AMD they don't support those stuff very well compared with NVIDIA. So I cannot comment much about it. But what I can see is NVIDIA spent a lot of effort, I think, much more than AMD on this particular part. One example is they recently released the DRA on inference, IP, and also their tensor points on first, and also they reduced the precision of some inference engine. So as far as I know, before they released this TensorFlow Yiran, they talked to about 100 major customers and do a survey saying how many integer bits you need. So and they choose 8. So which means they're actually very serious about the generality of their NVIDIA GPU and also a lot of practicality of this GPU. For the beginner, I think NVIDIA is maybe the fastest choice. I like to try the AMD one, but again, we have very little access on those stuff. NVIDIA gave us more support on those. Okay, so it's a very good question for people to run references. So recommendation from my student is for the feature instruction and the fine tuning, use Cafe. So if you're using the image or some image recognition for Cafe, may be very useful one. But the only layer is the torch. You have some crazy ideas, especially RNN, uses Sienna or TensorFlow, and the huge model needs a more model part of the use TensorFlow. Okay, so that is basically my student recommendation when I check to many of my students doing from single GPU to a very large farm because we're collaborating with AHB lab or some other industry lab. Sorry. Okay. The next one about distribution. Okay, so even in academia, we have very limited access to this very large distributed system, but still, you're able to build your own distributed system in the lab with about 20 computers in the servers. So there are many software have been used for this distributed computing, aside from parameter server based. These are the most popular one, the Yahoo LDA, and the Platoon or the Positone. And the Spark-based was used for distributed computing, but many people actually run the deep learning on top of this, and the Hadoop, and also some other graph-based solution like the Graph Lab or the Piccolo. And there's some table to show for the different paper to summarize what are the mechanisms for them to share the data and how to handle the data consistency and fault tolerance. So you can see, many of the checkpoints, some use other technique, and they share the data, the graph, a hash table, array, some of the first, and a parameter server is a dedicated technique for deep learning. There are spots, the data, infrastructure, support vector and the matrix. And the different people have different mechanisms to handle the data consistency issue. And the design challenges are this. Number one is the communication. Because we need to partition the model and the data across the different nodes. So when we do the distribution of the data and the models, there's a lot of data communications. How to handle this communication becomes very, very hard. Another one is the consistency model, or sometimes for the synchronization, because you may generate a lot of gradients. The gradients need to be combined so that you can do the average and updating those stuff. And how you can make sure the training of each node will be synchronized and will be consistent will be very hard. The third one is scalability. If you add 1 or 2 or 3 or even more, nodes dynamically, how you can really partition, your model there. And the fault tolerance, because sometimes one nodes fail, you'll still be able to generate really reasonable, the solution. If you consider, in many cases we have to run this distributed model in the data center for a couple of months. And the final result, it becomes very hard, for this fault tolerance. Okay, but we'll touch a little bit later on about this. And for easy to use. The local distributed one, you have the build, but also data center level distributed one, the global wise. So there are different the framework from the Cafe on Spark, or the project one to deal with multiple servers to Spark Connect to deal with the global stuff. And for the Parallel, as I mentioned, there were 2 types of the Parallel. Number one, the data Parallel, including how we can partition those data to different servers and we can merge them back. So this is one example for the parameter server. You have no training data, and then you partition the training data to the different worker nodes. And those worker nodes, actually, everyone has their own model. Okay, the whole model. And you train this model, generate some output, and they convert back to the server groups and those stuff, and get more. You can Spark Night or Cafe on Spark, they can all handle this. But the question is how you can addition the data to different nodes that can run almost synchronized. Another one is even harder. You have some model. You want to partition the model to different nodes because they can run separately. When you try to partition the model, you basically try to find the mean cut. And those mean cut is able to give very minimal interconnectivity between different nodes so that you can generate a minimal impact across the different nodes. How you can partition those stuff? And if you need to have some necessary interconnection between different machines, how you can really handle those communications. So this belief is actually one example. And the second one, the platoon, is a very good example to really show you how you can handle it. So this is a distributed computing platform for Google. So we now have a different task, like we have a semantic segmentation computing, then we do information distribution. Okay, those are 2 parts. One is basically for the deep learning computation, one for the information distribution. And we have a lot of data from the database. We need to handle the data part of them in the Google framework. So how Google does this? The number one, we have the TPU, a TensorFlow processing unit, to really do the computing power. It's actually computing power we can really apply. And they have the spanner is actually their internal interface to really do the data part of them, from the database, so distribute those stuff. And they have these believe to really compute the deep learning computation in a distributed way. They partition the model, they combine all the complicated gradients, functors. And they have a parameter server to converge all those data and handle the communication, especially the asynchronous transmission between different models. For the parameter server, just mentioned they have a parameter server to handle all this data. They have a parameter cache based on each machine, to really cache those data. The data will really be partitioned to different machines, different workers. They build a whole model on each stuff. And data and worker are distributed. Both data workers are distributed all over those worker nodes, and the parameter save waiting time because they really can handle this data and the model transmission by using the parameter server. So there's a dedicated server for this. And there are many methods how we can handle this communication. I'm not going through all the details, But you can see parameter server itself can really dramatically minimize the number of the code lines we can write to handle this data communication. And this the line of the code, okay, from like 30,000 to about 300. Because the original one, if you don't have this mechanism or the framework, you have to write those data communication by yourself and then make sure you synchronize those stuff. But now they create a transparent API to handle those stuff. And the time for server span on the communication and the waiting time will dramatically reduce. This is what I'm going to show. If you use system A, system B, I don't know, from some other company. I believe it's from Spark or something. And from the server, you can see they increase the computing time a little bit compared to system B, but all the waiting time dramatically reduced. So which means they actually give the data right just on time, so that you don't have to wait till the data. And with generate data, they will send it immediately, and convert. So when all the worker, generate all the data, they will send back to the parameter server to convert. Okay. So that is the advantage. And so most of the representative, the framework of the parameter server is the Python, later on the Python. The basic idea is they have some network layers, they have scheduling controller channel, the parameter chain channel, to really control, the data across the different workers. And they have a multiple, the server and the scheduler to schedule the data transmission, and also the workload dispatch on each workers. And they have a consistent controller to check, those traffics and find out if they can do it. But the first generation of the parameter server is a very complex mechanism. They can make sure they can synchronize, data transmission, and also the grabbing updates. But then they realize this is not necessary because the funny part is you have participation of the model in the different part. And when you're trying to train those models, if there is some unsynchronized computation, for example, you train this one twice, train this one once, and you merge them. So somehow, the model is able to tolerate this mismatch a little bit. So that the second generation, of the parameter server actually use asynchronized branding updates, so that they can give a different iterations on the different epochs on the different training the model on the different workers, and they still be able to converge. And this result show that how one machine, the machine running on the Python, how they can converge to the very low errors. Now you can see if they have 8 machines, they converge much faster than one machine. Shows the scalability of this parameter server design. And this chart shows you've done an iteration. You can see how many iterations you need to converge, whether it's thousands and all this one. Now you have a more powerful platform, so they now handle only the data asynchronization, but the model synchronization, and even to the fault tolerance, and so on. Some other people say there is scalability on the traditional part of the scheme. For example, if I have a batch, the batch size can be very large. So the original design still have a very large batch. Now we actually partition the batch in a smaller mini batch, and then we apply to the different servers as I showed here. So the issue is the more servers you can handle this, the smaller size of the batch you're going to deal with. They will, number one, generate a lot of traffic between different servers, and number two, the convergence actually will become easy. So people come with a Spark and Knight so that they can apply the same size of the batch on each server, so they can reduce the traffic. So there is some trade-off between, if you run a very long time on each server, or the traffic between the server. And the results show that if the communication overhead keep increasing, in the naive design, you see very high in the speed up because you have a much more size of the batch on each server and convert them. But when communication overhead keep increasing, the naive will not be the scalable approach. Will generate so many traffics between them. Instead, the Spark Night will give you a full batch on each server will still maintain good speed up until the overhead becomes very big, and compared with no speed up on this distributed solution. So the basic idea you can find out is here is very sustainable. You either give more data, more power, more computing power on each node, or you're going to solve the communication issue. Okay. So they're always a trade-off you use. And finally, there are some graph-based computing framework. Actually, I never use this one. I just put this one just for your information. So they can what state my machine, so they can process the neural network as a graph. So they can compute one vertex for another one, and so on, so first, and until they actually go through all the vertices to finish all the design. This technique was original proposal for the graph computing. And this design usually gives very good scalability. Like if you increase the number of the workers, the runtime will reduce almost linearly. You see that it's like non-linear. Actually, if you change the scale, this is more like a invert of the linear reduction. And you can see the runtime of the number of the vertices is the runtime linear, but not non-linear. So that's a good example if you use graph computing for the neural network. But people don't use one much anymore because now there's a similar philosophy, has been applied on the latest deep learning framework. It's another example about graph lab. There's also the graph computing one. The basic idea is there are some icon or collection, of layers. They can partition the workload to the atomic file and then put into the different, the learning engine, which is no communication between them. So they put more effort on how they can, partition the workload. But then you have very simple cluster to finish the computation. So you'll find out in this comparison, saying the Hadoop actually here and this technique actually generates a much lower runtime compared with their competitor MPI. MPI is multi-prototype interface. So similarly, if they have some dynamic, Netflix, they can dynamically change. There's a partition. They can actually have, even the test error can convert very fast compared with the BSP. It's a graph-based computing. Anyway, just for your information. I think I finished all the computing part. The introduction about this framework. We're probably going to stop here because already.
We will have a 30 minutes break. We will be back by 10:55. So, thank you.